Good evening, boys and ghouls. This is the Black Cat X1, your horror maven, the mistress of the slithering claw, the punk raver goth princess. Here with another episode 17 of Nightfall, San Francisco's premier horror show. All about horror, all the time. So, we're going to do the weekly recap of the series that have premiered this week. So, in the first position, Sunday night, we had The Walking Dead and the fight, all out war. It's on. So Negan and Rick's forces are battling it out. It seems at first that the Saviors are really reticent to fight and engage Rick's forces, and it seems like Rick's forces are in danger of imploding. But now we saw Morgan and Jesus actually battling it out. And now we realize that it's not just literal physical battle, but it's the soul, the hearts and minds, even. Not just shock and awe, but the hearts and minds. What kind of people are they going to be? What kind of world are they going to remake with those who are survivors? So that was an interesting take. I thought that was a really deep and well thought out thing. And of course, we had the little side story of Eric losing his partner, and it was very poignant seeing his partner walking off. Now we know he's become a walker, and that friendship, that love will not be the same anymore. So that was poignant, and it shows already that they're losing. Also, at the end of the episode, we saw that King Ezekiel realizes too late that they've walked into an ambush. So don't celebrate too early was the lesson of that episode. So it was really good to see that kind of reflective thinking. So it seems that season 8 is going to have a lot of depth of not just physical violence, but also the emotional toll that this all out war is going to exact. So then Tuesday we had American Horror Story Cult, and again we see the unraveling of Kai. We see Ali ascending. We even see Beverly Hope starting to take back some of her power, and we see that Winter begins to get her comeuppance. And I think it's an interesting dynamic. I've always been interested this whole season in the way they've used actual words from the headlines and from trial transcripts of actual events happening literally in the real world to formulate and to craft the storyline for this season. It's been spectacular, and this past week's episode was no exception. When Kai goes into the whole Manson monologue, it was really creepy, very eerie. And if you know anything about the story, and of course I'm a true crime aficionado, it was very evocative of the ways that people thought, including Manson himself. So it wasn't just the physical realization of the Manson character, it was also the reflection of his actual thought process, which indeed is scarier than the man himself. So that was American Horror Story Cult. So we see Ali and Kai starting to battle, and we're coming up to the finale this coming week, this coming Tuesday. So let's see if Ali and Beverly Hope can prevail. And so that was really interesting, and they've done a spectacular job. And they've also given us a clue. Butcher's Block is going to be coming up for American Horror Story 2018. So I'm going to be staying tuned for that, and I hope you do as well. All right, so then on Thursday we had Ghost Wars, which is finding its own little niche. I'm starting to get more into the rhythm of it. So, and I'm starting to get in with the characters and understanding that it's its own program. It's not. It's sort of between paranormal investigation and Law and Order, if that makes any sense. So I'm starting to understand the rhythm of it a bit more and enjoying it a bit more now that I'm understanding where they're coming from. So you should tune in, find out if you like it, and let me know. I mean, I'm interested to dialogue with other people about that. So Friday, of course, is the day that I cut work short, and I'm like, that's it. Friday is the horror premiere of all the shows that I want to see. So we had The Exorcist, really good episodes. I really liked it. It was very clever. The writers entitled it Darling Nikki. So I tweeted out Prince's Darling Nikki, right? And so it was excellently well done. And from a demonologist standpoint, they got it dead right. Absolutely, positively spot on. How the demon seduces, how the demon twines around, how the demon relaxes you so you think, well, I know this is strange and it's not really right, but I want it to be right. So the demon uses your own desires against you, and that was clearly evident. And also, it was interesting to see how even the other children, they knew, Verity knew that something was wrong, but she didn't articulate it. And Rose knew something was wrong, but she didn't articulate it. And even Rose saw that somebody was talking and nobody else was supposed to be there. So even though she saw it, she didn't put the pieces together. She was so busy trying to hold on to her budding relationship or renewal of her relationship that she pushed away the priest, the very people who could help her. And wasn't Marcus right on point again this episode? And then Father Tomas, I don't know, he's really becoming fodder for the demons. So I'm really interested to see where they're going with this. It shows I really like The Exorcist, the series, because it shows that they've done their research, that they're conforming to standard demonology, the standard tract of demons. They're really reflecting and they're telling a good story about it. So I'm really super excited. I can't wait to see what we're going to have for next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. Also, we have Superstition, which is starting to come into its own. It's a little bit choppy, I will admit. I'll be the first one to admit it's a little bit choppy because they're trying to do sort of like a home family drama with supernatural elements, and they haven't really gotten there where they can meld the two in a more smooth fashion. But their storylines are interesting. The whole thing about the mirror, spot on, and so you stay tuned for that. I'm giving it every opportunity because I want it to grow. I want it to succeed. Z Nation. Oh, it was fantastic. The whole thing about the juggalos and the zuggalos, oh my god, I'm like so spot on. And then Warren doing the rap battle, epic. And so I think Z Nation, because I had a discussion this week with somebody and they were saying, well, I don't like Walking Dead, it's too serious. Z Nation is more on point. But I think Walking Dead has its own perspective. It's more, this season 8 seems to be more Shakespearean tragedy. They're going for that big arc, that big emotional storyline. Z Nation also has an emotional storyline, but they're also keeping those elements of humor to the forefront. They're keeping the comic book elements to the forefront. They're really trying to keep humor as a way of battling the whole apocalyptic situation, and they're also throwing sci-fi elements in there. So I think the audiences may be similar because zombies, but it's all in their approach. And I don't prefer one over the other. I may get exasperated with The Walking Dead because it's a little too stuffy sometimes, but I think in all, they each have a different perspective on what's going to happen. And look, hey, the zombie apocalypse is going to be horrible no matter how you do it. Alright, so then we had Z Nation. And so then the other thing I wanted to speak about was our demonology mini lesson, which I've already kind of covered with The Exorcist, but basically the mini lesson for this week is going to be recognition. Recognizing that you have a demonic infestation or an attachment or some kind of presence in your life or in the lives of those who you're interacting with. And I think the recognition stage is the hardest for people to get on board with because people don't want to recognize, they don't want to acknowledge evil. And so for them, they're like, oh, well, John's been a little depressed and John's been a little moody lately and he's a little withdrawn and, things have happened. Things do happen to people, but you never know. Leaving them alone allows the demonic to grow. If you keep making excuses, you allow the demonic to grow. It's almost, okay, look, basically it's like a fungus. If you don't shine some light, get some disinfectant into there, make sure that the area is clean and dry, if you don't do any of those things, the fungus is going to grow. If you don't allow light and some kind of healing and intervention into people's lives, the fungus of demonic infestation will continue to grow. And so I think that's the biggest challenge in getting people to understand, recognition. The second thing I want to say is Santeria secrets. So we talked about Spirit in the Wood last week. So this week I continue and urge you to listen to Babalu, because Babalu is another song made famous by Desi Arnaz in the 1950s. But he was a big Santeria practitioner, so he is singing Babalu honoring the Orisha. And so if you listen to that and you read the words, you get a clearer picture, a clearer understanding that the whole thing about Santeria is heartfelt connection to the spiritual forces that animate this world. All right, so and the last plug I'm going to do is about Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows was a 1960s, 1970s soap opera, and they just had a marathon about it, and it's really, really good. And you think, oh, it's corny. Some episodes are corny, but I like the dialogue, I like the casting, I like the fact that they keep you guessing. And now that I'm not able to watch it on a regular basis, I'm feeling the withdrawal symptoms. So it's something that I really want to look up and to check out on Netflix. So I urge you to watch Dark Shadows. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been your girl, the Black Cat X1. Follow me on Twitter at the Black Cat X1, and also check out my blog on www.theblackcatpresents.blogspot.com, and I'm going to have it in the description box because I know I totally messed that up. Anyway, so I've got to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your time. And remember, until next time, I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao.